Okay, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies. Good morning, Peter.
Morning, Bill. Morning, everybody, or afternoon, or evening, or dead of night.
Wherever you may be.
Yeah.
All right, here we are, episode number 335. 335.
Wow.
The episode title is Why We Always Make Huge Profits on Our Creative Real Estate Deals. Here's the description. Ever wonder how you can get behind the scene with us to see how we do things so you can do it too? More to the point, how do we actually do the deals we talk about and make huge profits on every deal so we don't need to do a quantity of deals to make a lot of money?
Mhm.
Maybe you wonder how we do all these without making mistakes. Or perhaps you believe it is our experience that you don't have to, it is our experience that you don't have that keeps us safe.
Mhm.
What if I told you you could listen to this single 60-minute podcast and know everything we do so you can do it too? In fact, once we take you behind the scene, you're going to be disappointed. Mostly because it is too simple without all the levers and buttons you think we have. See, the biggest obstacle most have in this, and the main rule, See, the biggest obstacle most have is the main rule about real estate is missing.
Mm. Oh. Mm.
It is not something you learn. It is something you do. But because it has money involved, oh boy,
Mhm.
most get cold feet on the do. Today, we're going to show you a guaranteed way to stay safe and make tons of dough. Mm-hmm.
Good. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
When you
I've said
say
it about 10,000 times too, but I'm going to emphasize it today.
yeah, and when you say dough, you're not talking Christmas cookie dough, right?
No, we're talking about the green stuff that has dead presidents on it.
Yeah, it's like dead presidents. Oh boy.
All right. So let's do some of our housekeeping first. JR says, hi. Hello, JR.
Hey, JR.
So we record this podcast every Thursday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sorry if that doesn't fit your schedule. It's just kind of like been our successful action. Obviously, we've done 335 podcasts at this point, so that's our successful action. We live stream it, though, and you can join us either on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. And if you would like to participate in one of those social media groups, you can type in there your questions wherever they allow you. Facebook, YouTube, or in YouTube it's the comments, and Facebook it's down below that. Anyways, I have a screen in front of me and we can answer the questions. I will only answer questions pertaining to the podcast. However, if you would like some help, we have a WhatsApp messenger group called Let's Talk Real Estate. So you can go there and join. It's for free. The other thing you can do is you can go to flippinghousesforrookies.com. Top right-hand side, there's a support link there, and those support tickets come right to me directly. I don't have a VA that answers them. I do all them myself. So I answer all those tickets. Or you just go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/support. Last thing is make sure you subscribe to us and like us or dislike us if you feel like you should dislike us, and leave a comment. Okay? That would be helpful. That's our report card. It takes me 5 or 6 hours a week to do this podcast by the time I write it and produce it and all that kind of stuff. So your feedback is important. That's kind of like your exchange for like us giving you all the information. Last thing is there's a link in the comments wherever you're watching us or listening to us, there is a link I'm sorry, not in the comment. I always say comment, the description. So if you go there, very often I give things away. I put tools in there. I put all kinds of goodies in that link. So if you're listening to this podcast and you want to implement that portion of the pod or a portion of the podcast, the tools are inside of the link of the description. Okay.
Yep.
Then now that that's out of the way, here we go.
Take it away.
3, 2, 1, start.
Boing.
Making money is a mastery, not a casual stone skipping type activity. Dan Kennedy words.
Really?
Which means the more money you want to make, the more dedicated and focused your attention should be on making that money.
Yeah.
It is not something you can drop by for a month or two, pick up a magic trick or two, and then move on to another magic store to get another trick or a new trick. It's not the way to do this.
Why does everything in this world have to be, oh, it's easy? You don't have to bother. Almost every field, music, just learn. It's easy. 2 lessons, you can play piano in concert and buy houses. You'll be rich. Why do we expect it to be easy? I mean, what fun would that be if it was that easy? Where's the challenge there? Where's the pride? Oh, it was easy.
I'm not going to go off on a rant on this, but I will tell you the human mind has a absolute trap in it, and we all think it. And that trap is, I'll just set it on automatic and then not pay attention to it.
Yeah, automatic, like our stupid emotions that come up by themselves, that kind of automatic. No.
Oh, and that's the trap, because when you set things on automatic and forget about them, they come back and kick your butt.
Yeah, they come up at the wrong time.
Yep.
Okay, onward.
It is not something you could drop by for a month or two, pick up a magic trick or two, then move into a different magic shop for a new trick. Until one day you have enough tricks to hit it big on Las Vegas stage. Doesn't work that way. Truth is, it is the little simple things that make the biggest success. But unfortunately, as human beings, which we all are, we need to make it complicated, struggle with it, often fail before the simple things that work really good make sense to us. And by the time we figure that out, we've usually spent all our money. We've been to the hospital a few times for our injuries because we were harpooned. We've given up God knows how many times. Maybe even tried to reinvent ourselves or take the training and put our own twist on it, or add what we think is correct instead of what was successful, to only make full circle and realize we had the secret formula all along and feel foolish we brushed it under the rug or made light of it because it was too simple when we heard it the first time.
Well,
see, most, including me, believe there is just a small difference between school or learning and experience. Most think there's just a slight little difference between the two. It's like school and experience, right? Like there's this fine line between them. It's hard work to get across that line, but there's this fine line. But in the real world, what we don't realize is that in school, we're taught to try. And that trying counts for something.
Oh boy, that's a little brutal there, Mr. Hawthorne, but interesting.
In a school environment, coaches, teachers, etc., are pressured or even required to command their teams and students to try. Well, you really tried, and that's what matters.
Here's your trophy.
But it's not what matters. People are not taught and conditioned, but instead moan and whine. How am I doing so far?
Sounds a bit familiar.
But I tried hard. Yeah.
Yeah, followed by, it's not my fault.
I put a lot of work into this.
Not my fault.
I put in 20 hours or 20 years. I should.
Mm-hmm.
And then they expect a pat on the head, a gold star, and other rewards purely because of their efforts. This comes from, by the way, a job. I never understood when I had when I had my other businesses and I had 15, 20 people working for me all the time. I never understood this concept. I want $20 an hour. Never understood the concept ever, still don't. Because here's what I got. I hired the guy for $20 an hour, and that's exactly what I got, was an hour of his time, and I had to pay him $20. The laws told me that's what I had to do. It didn't have to be a productive hour. It didn't have to be an hour that was the way I wanted it to be. It didn't even have to be an hour in the right place of my business. It just had to be he was there for an hour. Pay him or she.
Yeah.
Never understood that. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some jobs that you have to actually like work. My father was a barber. You got paid by the haircut. Even if you worked there, you didn't get paid by the hour. You didn't cut hair, you didn't get money.
Right.
So some jobs like that. My mother worked piecemeal in a spring factory by the spring, but that's not often. Usually just show up, get through the week, put your hand out. Right.
Nowadays, I'm not going to get into the political regime that we're in right now, but nowadays, hell, you don't even need to work.
No, you stay home.
You just need to say, I think I should, and you should, and just get it.
They were talking.
I think I should get $600 a week for my pay.
I heard yesterday people aren't working because they're getting more on welfare than jobs.
Yeah, I saw that. There's 3 or 4 states in the country that are actually paying people $80, $100 a year for not working.
Jeez. Oh, and you wonder.
Now, here's the thing.
You wonder why there's inflation.
Here's the thing. This is not what this podcast is on. We're ranting on too long. Here's the thing. Because most are trying and feel like they should get a pat on the head, many who go unrewarded for trying become bitter, resentful, jealous, and mystified by others successful, especially those who seem to have gone through less pain to achieve it.
Operative word there, seem to have.
Mr. Dan Kennedy, thank you. Those are his words.
Yeah.
But in the real world, trying counts for nothing except to get you the lack of.
Mm-hmm.
We went through a whole episode. I should have put that in here, and I did a whole episode about hiring a who, not doing the how.
Yeah.
Right? That's what that's all about. By the way, in my world, try is past tense for I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that's not why we're here. Enough of that. I'll get off my soapbox. Hopefully I am impinged.
Yeah, you're trying to make us all feel good, right?
Oh, yeah, that didn't work. Here's what I want to talk about today and give you examples of.
Mm-hmm.
The formula.
The formula.
Yeah. The one that you've never heard before. Yeah, right.
Oh.
You've heard this like 10,000 times.
Okay.
Money now, money monthly, money later.
Mm-hmm.
It's too simple. You hear it and you think that's too simple. I promise you, I don't care what industry you are in. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you, all the way from prostitution to drug dealers to president of the United States to business of owners, owners of businesses to CEOs. I don't care where you are in this world. If you want to set yourself up for a future of freedom, you have to do money now, money monthly, money later. The most proven retirement early formula on planet Earth. Why? Because what other thing can you do other than real estate in this world where you work once and get paid multiple times over and over and over again? Why do you think, Peter, so many people gravitate to real estate? That's the reason why.
They've heard it's successful, but no one's explained it like you do, where there's money now, money monthly, money later. So I'm not sure how people are looking at that, if they're even thinking of a breakdown, how it turns out. But those three things are very important.
Right.
Because you need all that. You need some money right now. We all have like, gee, I wish I had more money right now for bills. And we all need money like, every month for things, continual. It's monthly, not just this month. It's continual. And then it's nice to have, hey, later, money's going to happen later too. I mean, you can't be, but explaining it that way is a huge difference than just real estate is good. I mean, if you go do a bunch of flips, make a bunch of money, and you finish a flip, what do you got? You got nothing. You got no cash flow. You got no money later. It's gone. How are you going to retire on that stuff? It's a job.
You got a job.
It's not the worst job, if you're young and strong and muscular, got hammers and saws and things. But how long you want to do that? Then what? So the way you explain it, boy, that's a formula. You can look at your life and match it up to those three components and work with it. Like, what do I need right now? Like to get rid of that, pay that off, What do I need?
Jay Abraham says there's only three things you need to do to make money in a business.
Yeah.
Or increase your income in a business.
Yeah, I remember that. Go ahead. I remember some of that.
1, get new clients.
Yep.
2, get the average ticket price per client up.
Mm-hmm.
And 3, get them to come back and buy more.
Mm-hmm.
That's money now, money monthly, money later, as far as I'm concerned.
Wow. Yeah, I never connected the two. That's interesting. Yeah.
There is nothing else on planet Earth, I promise, and I would love a support ticket or a phone call or something to tell me what else does this. I mean, you could say a business does it, right? But look what happens with a business. I mean, I own 3 of them right now. Every week there's something. I told you I was going to take this week off. We started this week. It's usually Christmas week. I take the week off. Yeah. It's like I'm struggling to go do some shopping and stuff because I got applications for people that want to be in houses. Christmas is the best time for us. I got a house I got to buy. I have another house that I'm trying to sell. I mean, I think I've got 3 houses that I'm trying to sell. You got a deal. I think you got another deal that I haven't told you about.
Oh, right. Good for me.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like there all of a sudden there's a bunch of transactions. So
yeah, no, we've seen that. People, December's bad for real estate. Now, I remember selling even with a realtor 2 during December. I remember for sure the one in Newington. And so it happens. It's not like it doesn't happen. If there's averages and things, that's one thing. But your life is not an average. It's if you have a house, you can buy a house, you can sell a house whenever. So don't worry about averages and rates and percentages. You're working on your deals. One here, one there, the next one. It could be the second. It could be tomorrow, any time of the year. So don't go thinking, this time of the year, blah, blah. Forget it.
People in the mood to spend money. All right. So let's flip this formula. Money now, money monthly, money later, over. And let's look under its belly.
Oh, okay.
Let's see why it is so vital to our lives and our best financial future. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of an off sprout of the coaching call I did a couple of weeks ago, which you were on, and I put the money now, money monthly, money formula ahead of all the other formulas. Remember when I did that?
Yeah.
Remember that night? Okay, so watch this. if we use this tool first in the deal structure instead of last, normally I tell you, you check your deals with, does it have money now? Does it have money monthly? Does it have money later? So it's like
like checking
the
toward
great,
the end.
yeah, the
Right?
great
Yeah.
equalizer, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, if you use it in the beginning instead of the end, and just go into it with that viewpoint, it will actually help you structure the deal.
Now that's as opposed to using the loan to value. Is that the other approach you're meaning?
No, I just
What?
mean that if your mindset is, where is my money now?
No, I get that, but but if we don't do that first, what we do first? If we didn't, like, what were we doing first? Doing loan to value
So you would
first?
do, well, yeah. Well, the script nowadays is all about the price. It's about the payment. It's about the
Mhm.
duration. It's about the deposit if they talk about it.
Right.
Right. If you're going to get a deed, you're going to want to know the loan to value ratio. But for a very long time, I thought if you knew what they owed on the house, and you divided that by how much it's worth, you have a loan to value ratio, and you know which offer to make. That's something I've taught forever. Just go to flippinghousesforrookies.com, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and there's a free course there, and you can go get that. It shows you exactly how to do that.
Yeah.
Right. So what I'm saying is as you're collecting data, like in the discovery step, which, by the way, next podcast 336 is going to be all about collecting this information.
Okay.
Because it's been too confusing and we've gotten away from it. So I'm going to reel it back in on what information you need to collect and why.
Good.
So it makes it really simple.
Well, that sounds practical.
Yeah. So if we use this tool first in deal structuring, meaning the money now, money monthly, money later, instead of last to qualify the deal's integrity, here's what we find. You should already know, one, if you know what you can sell for, it's way easier to negotiate anything, right?
Oh, sure.
So if I'm a used car lot and I know what I can sell a car for, then it should be easy to know how much I can sell it for, right? I'm sorry, how much I can pay for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Smaller items like that seem simpler, like, a guitar, a car, a refrigerator, things that are just not huge ticket items because they're usually one-shot transactions.
You go into a department store and all that stuff is on there. The buyer knew when they purchased those how much they can pay for them. I mean, how much they can pay because they know how much they can sell. I mean, in retail, it's very easy. It's like board of directors tell you they want to make 33%. Okay, so we can sell it for $100. We can't pay more than.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Minus 33%. So you can't pay more than 66%. In this case, it would be $66.
Yep.
Right.
Sure.
So the first thing that we need to know is if we know how much we can sell for, and I'm not talking about doing a 4-week study on the house. Merry Christmas, John. I'm not talking about doing a 4-week appraisal on the house. What I do on an average is I type the address of the property into Google, and very often, Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, Realtor.com, Movado, all those come up. I take 3 to 5 of them, depending on how many there are, and I add them up, and then I divide it by whatever number, the 3 or 5. And I have my average price. Because here's the thing. When you're negotiating, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're not buying, you're negotiating. I think people get a little nervous in the beginning, think they're buying. They're not buying. They're not committing anything. They haven't put their name on anything. You're negotiating. You're ballparking. If you can't even get near a ballpark, why bother with all the other details? Once you're closer,
Well,
worry about it.
even more simple than that. It's like you in the beginning, you're working on the seller's motivation.
Mm-hmm.
So all you're doing right now is saying you're proposing. It's like proposing to a significant other that you want to marry. You know, oh,
Mm-hmm.
Peter, will you marry me?
No, Bill.
You know, see, I mean, the point is that you're giving proposals. It's either a yes or no.
Yeah, I just want to see if he's willing to work with you. Like, what if he just won't even budge on anything? Like, the numbers don't matter. He won't budge on anything. He's so far off. So then if it gets closer, you can fine tune the numbers and things can change. Just because you say something to somebody, like in the first 5 minutes of a conversation, you're not committed to it. You get more information, you tell them, well, listen, did a little more research and I found out this. So I can pay more. I can pay less. I can't pay at all. Things move around. It's okay. It's real life.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you say that. It's kind of like I watch, Pawn Stars. My wife's like, "Why do you watch that stupid show?" Because I'm interested in the artifacts they bring in and what they're worth.
Yeah.
But there's been many times a guy will come in and be like, "I want $5,000 for this," and they come in and they're like, "Oh, this is worth $50,000." He doesn't say, "Okay, I'll give you 5,000." He's like, "How much do you want for it now?" 50,000. And he'll pay 40 or 20 or 30 or whatever, right? We do the same thing.
Yeah.
JR wants to know what defines having a profitable investment property in your own terms where habitant liable damages can be mitigated. So the answer to that question is we don't rent. We sell on owner financing, so on a lease option. So the seller, the buyer is responsible for the repairs. If you're worried about them doing repairs, you're going to get at least 5% down. These days we're getting almost 10%, but you get 5% down. So on a $200,000 house, you're going to get 10 grand. Just don't use that 10 grand. That's the money now. Just don't use it. Put it in the bank, and you have 10 grand to fix any problems or damages or mitigate anything you need to do. You can do that for your first deal or two until you get a chunk of dough, and then after that, you don't have to put all that money in. You can start taking a percentage of that money, like 50% or 30% or 20% or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is to set your business up. Another thing that I do, which we're off track here, but another thing that I do, I was just talking about this the other day on another call, is when I set up my money on a deal, I always try to pay the mortgage a month ahead. So my mortgage is like I'm paying my mortgages in December. They're really paying January.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always a month ahead. And it allows me for any kinds of problems.
Yep.
Like, for example, I have one property right now where they're not mailing me the statement. And my taxes went up, believe it or not, $100 a month. It's a lot of money. So they're not mailing me the statement. So evidently, when I spoke to the mortgage company, one of the problems is somebody checked off a box and they turned me into a coupon payment instead of a statement payment, which means I get coupons for 12 months, which is the stupidest thing in the world that I ever heard of. Because if I'm a coupon and they sent me the coupons, I've been paying the coupon amount and it doesn't have the tax increase in there.
Oh, really?
Doesn't make sense to me.
Did they tell you? Did they tell you?
They should have mailed me new coupons and they didn't. So if the mortgage number changed because of the taxes, but I didn't get into the argument with the lady because it's like that was the stupidest thing I ever heard of. Anyways, so the point is that it gobbled up. I was 1 month ahead. It gobbled up that payment and it put me behind, and it was delinquent as a subject to property. And my seller was like freaking out because we were behind. It took me a while to figure it out.
Oh, it was $100. What did they give you? The whole year was behind?
No, the escrow payment. So.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to describe it now because I don't want to waste time in the podcast.
Yeah, you got to put money aside for the payments and all that. Sure. Okay.
So hopefully, okay. Thanks. JR said thanks for the response. All right. So we're talking about deal structuring and things you should know already. The first one is if you know what the house is worth, it's easier to negotiate. We just talked about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's easier to say, okay, I'm pretty certain the house is worth $100,000. So anything below $100,000, I can make money at. It's much easier to negotiate. Too many people go to a deal and they don't know what it's worth, and then they negotiate and they're lost. That's the reason why, because they don't know what they can sell. Number two, I am going to make you the most powerful negotiator on planet Earth right now. And I am not even joking. When I learned this, my life changed.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Yep.
The secret of negotiating is the one who wants it the least has the most power.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you want it really bad, don't show it that you want it really bad.
Come on, time for poker face.
Exactly. This is where neediness comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Way too many of my coaching clients or new coaching clients or new students are needy. They are begging for deals and don't even know they're doing it.
Yeah, sellers can
They're-
smell it like a shark smelling blood in the water. They can feel it. They know.
The faster you chase a seller, the more you chase a seller, the faster they run.
Yep.
Just the way it works. And the last thing you need to know is all you need to do to make deals with as long as you have their willingness. So all you need to make a deal is the seller's willingness to do it and their price, their payment, whether it's the payment they want to receive because it's free and clear, their mortgage payment, whoever you got to pay, your payment. In other words, does it make sense? Because that's where your money monthly comes from.
Mm-hmm.
The duration, which means the time of the loan, and a down payment if they talk about it.
Yep.
Okay, so now time for the magic. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Plug these numbers into the money now, money monthly, and money later formula. And here's what happens. It automatically, mathematically shows any holes in the deal.
Mm.
If you look at it from money now, money monthly, money later, it automatically shows the blemishes in the deal.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have the price, you have the payment, this is what the seller's willing to do, right? You have a price, you have the payment, you have the duration, and
Yep.
deposit if they're asking for one, or down payment if they're asking for one.
Mm-hmm.
By doing money now, money monthly, money later, it will immediately, like oil and water, surface to the top.
You know, you would do that for anything you're buying, again, refrigerator, a kitchen table. But, there's three numbers that could potentially be happening here. So it looks more complicated, but it's three numbers that the seller wants and three numbers that a buyer may be willing to give you. And you're standing in between them, looking to the left and looking to the right. And, I remember being like concerned, like, how much should I pay for the house? I really didn't know. And you're so natural at it that you just know, like, especially if you did business in a town for a while, you just know what things are worth in the area. And us guys are like, I don't know how much I should pay. And then this came up probably within the last year to really help us focus on what we can get. And going in knowing that it's like a total game changer. The guy
So let me
says,
go back to
I want this much every month. And you're thinking like, well, no one's going to give me that much. Or like, yeah, that's a good price. I can totally get that plus a lot more. No problem. If you don't know that, how are you gonna function? And we were kind of lost without that for a little bit. And then you struck on that. And it, you had that kind of automatic in your head. And we're not that smart. So just looking at that and comparing the two, we're all
so
set.
just let me circle back to the beginning of the podcast. We usually have spent all our money. So by the time we figure all this out, right? We usually spent all our money, bending in hospitals, giving up, maybe even tried to reinvent ourselves. To only make full circle and realize we had the secret formula all along and feel foolish, we brushed it under the rug or made light of it because it was too simple. See, most, including me, believe there's just a small difference between school and learning. So I started out buying subject to deals with a partner that supposedly had money, and we used his money up quicker than he ever thought. He thought he had a lot of money, and I taught him what real money was about. Right?
You're not buying golf clubs, you're buying houses.
Yeah. So here's what happened. we're at lunch one day in an Italian restaurant, a pizza place that we normally eat at, and we're talking. And I have it took me about less than 2 years, about a year and a half. I have a little over a $3 million portfolio.
Mm.
Say 3 or 3.5 million, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he punches me right in the face. He says, well, let's take a look at the portfolio we have with residential, because we have residential and he has commercial. He's
Mm-hmm.
like, we got like 3.3 million, whatever the number was, right? And he says, when we do the numbers, he says, we either make $2,000 a month or we lose $2,000 a month. I'm like,
2,000.
what?
My God, that's such a tight.
I'm like, what? What are you talking about? So he says, I have my portfolio. He says, that's about the same thing. It's about $3 million. He says, and I make 150 grand a year off of it. He lived off of it.
Yeah.
Same number.
Yeah.
Same number. Okay. So when I tell you money now, money monthly, money later, it took me probably 5. In fact, I will tell you that right now, I had a meeting with him the other day. We have one more house left, and it's 15 years later since that happened. 15 years later, and I still have one house with him.
Mm-hmm.
It took all that time to fix it. It took me 3 to 5 years just to fix to sell the portfolio and turn it around. It didn't actually start changing until him and I left. We split up in 2009. We split up because he's 85 and he wanted to stop doing everything we were doing. He wanted to slow down, right? So I do not tell you this lightly. Do you know how many houses and how many deals and how many mistakes I had to make to learn this? You should have equity in the house the day you buy it. You know how many houses I bought without equity?
Mm-hmm.
And then later on there in my portfolio, I'm like, oh, fuck. What the hell did I buy that for? Because you're in the chase of the deal. And most importantly, here's what happens. I need money. I need money. I need money. I need money. Whether it's you need the money or not, your head is telling you that. You need money because your wife or your husband's telling you, you're spending a lot of money on real estate. You better make money pretty soon. Otherwise, you're going to have to stop. Or you need to pay a credit card off. Or you just need to prove to yourself it works. And you make 5 or 10 grand. And Peter, you are a testament of this. Like I am. You get the money and it goes away.
Mm-hmm.
It gets used. And then you're like, oh, I need to start over again. And it's inertia. You're like at a dead stop and you like got to get the machine going again. And it takes months sometimes to get deals done.
True.
All right. So by using money now, money monthly, money later, it automatically, mathematically shows any holes in the deal. Number 2, and you can probably talk on this more than I can. It allows you to adjust the deal to your liking. So that was your realization in the coaching call, right? Example, you want more money now or more money monthly? You can adjust the deal based on the offer. You can adjust the offer. It's not even the deal. You're making the offer. So when you're looking at money now, money monthly, money later, like we did at the coaching call a couple of weeks ago, you can adjust the deal the way you like it.
Right. I mean, the seller would say, I need this much money. And you go, okay. And if you pay all that, you don't have too much money now. And you could have the deal set up like, boy, in a few years, this will make me lots of money. Well, maybe you want a little bit more now. Who knows what's going to happen in a few years too? Markets change, things change. You have to adjust to it. So you can renegotiate with the person. So you wind up more now or a little more monthly or however you want to do. You can ask.
So let me give you a quick example.
Yep.
So I have a house in Cleveland that's vacant right now, which I've got 3 of them vacant, and I don't like that, but I got to fix that. So it's vacant right now. So my boots on the ground in Cleveland says the neighbor next door wants to know if I want to sell the house because it's an 8-room house and it's not a boarding house, but we're renting the rooms for $500 a month each room. So 8 times 5.
A boarding house would be weekly payments. Is that the difference?
Yes.
Okay. So boarding house is monthly. So now.
So,
okay.
So it's $500 a month, right?
Each
So
room.
yeah, so she's got a house next door. So she calls me up, and I'm an investor too, and I hear a lot of that, right? So okay, good. So she says, "How much you want the house?" I said, "You can't buy it." She goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "I paid 75,000 for it." Whoa! She goes just like that. Whoa! Oh man, houses in that neighborhood are $30,000, $40,000. And you know what? You might be able to get 50 if you can prove the income. If you sell the business, you could probably get 50. I'm like, okay, I'm not worried about it. I don't understand your methodology. I'm like, okay, let me explain it to you. I paid $75,000 because I got owner financing, no interest, for 7 years. In 7 years, I pay it off. I have a payment. I didn't tell her this. I have a payment of about $800 a month. Taxes, insurance, everything, right?
Mm.
Here's the point. 500 times 8 is $4,000 a month. $4,000 a month. You do the math. Do I care that I paid $75,000 for that house? No. I'm getting $4,000 a month for the property. And I have a property manager that takes 10% of the payment. So I'm giving him $400 to collect. So when I get all done, it makes like $1,800 or $1,900 a month positive cash flow.
Yeah.
Because I use the money now, money monthly, money later formula. There is no money now. No money now.
Mm-hmm.
But I forfeited the money now because I took the cash flow of the $1,800 a month. And the money later is every time I make a monthly payment that my tenants are paying me, $4,000, reduce my payment by the $800 or $900 the mortgage payment is. Oh yeah, by the way, in 7 years, I own the house. I pay the house off in 7 years because there's no interest.
Yep.
So I went after the money monthly and the money later because I looked at the formula before I made the deal and consciously made the decision. There's no money now. Matter of fact, it's costing me money now. It cost me a couple grand for the closing, and I had to put like $3 or $4 grand into it. But who cares? 2 months, I get the money back. Number 3, money now, money monthly, money later, forces you to look at the deal as a whole. You've always talked about this.
Yeah, well, the example you just gave, who cares if it's $75,000? If I can't even figure out the return on that, I have to get a calculator. It's so high. It isn't 5% return, 10% return. It's huge.
Right.
So, when you buy commercial property or income making property or a business, it's just how much does it cost? How much do I make? It's not what it's worth. Well, the house is worth. The house isn't worth shit. Sorry, my English, but it's only worth what it makes. And if it's making that much money, that's what it's worth, what it's making. So it's just different viewpoint.
Yeah, so it forces you to look at the deal as a whole, like you're talking about. So we look at the deal as a 5-year deal or a 7-year deal, and it puts your attention on the right places, not the pieces and the parts. Too many students look at the wrong part of the deal. I'm going to talk about that next week or on episode number 336. I'm going to talk about this in 336, how to analyze a deal, right? Yeah. Your attention goes on the wrong thing. Like wanting money now and not paying attention to the money monthly or the money later. Welcome to the wholesale world. Right? Doing a deal just for that chunk of dough, just for next month or two. Right? Then once that chunk of dough is gone, the rest of the deal sucks, like I said before. Right? And that's what happened to me. I had a $3 million portfolio, and yeah, we got some deposit money when we rented these properties, and that was good, but that money was gone.
Yeah.
We used it because all of a sudden I get a dry spell of 2 or 3 months. At that time, it was costing me 15 or 20 grand because I had people working for me. It was costing me 15 or 20 grand between the marketing. You have to realize our listeners right now have it made because I used to spend 10 grand a month in marketing.
That's so crazy.
Why? Because there was no internet. We couldn't do the things the way we do now. And I got to listen. I mean, Creative REI Reply is $147 a month, and I got to listen to people whine about how they got to pay $147 a month for marketing. I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? It used to cost me 10 grand a month. It used to be $3,500 a house, and I got it down to $1,000 a house. For a long time, it was $1,500 a house. It cost me $1,500 a house and marketing expenses to buy a house.
Yeah.
So that means if I wanted to buy 3 houses, I needed to spend $5 grand a month in marketing. I was buying 7 or 8. And I got to listen to somebody about Creative REI Reply about how it costs $147 a month. Get away from me.
Yeah, and people don't even know what you're talking about. You had to make flyers, 8.5 by 11, and put them in the effing newspaper. Do you understand how many copies that is? Tens of thousands. Or
we used to make business
right?
cards. We used to make business cards. We got to keep moving because we're 45 minutes in. We used to make business cards and walk around Home Depot with $20 business cards and drop them on the floor.
They look like $20 bills.
Yeah, but somebody had to buy the cards and somebody had to go do it, right? All right. So number 4, Money Now, Money Monthly, Money Later forces you to balance your deals. For example, if you know how much you can if you know how much you can buy for, you'll know how much you can pay, and it balances your deals.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I didn't put this in here, but one of the things I talk about in my webinars is the reason why you're not making deals is because your deals are bad. You have bad offers. The bad offer means it's unbalanced, right? That means the seller is asking too much and you can't handle it, or you're being too low and the seller can't handle it. They're unbalanced.
Yep.
The Money Now, Money Monthly, Money Later balances the offer. It makes it look like it shows you where you can give the seller more money than everybody else. And like me, I paid. This girl was like, "What? 75,000?" She thought I was nuts. Well, she could just go right back next door where she belongs.
Did she understand it all after you explained it to her a little bit?
Yeah, now she wants my contact information. She wants to stay in touch with me because she's got a whole network and she's got this and she's got that. And she's going to have some guy call me and he'll buy that. And yeah, she changed her whole tune. Number 5, by using this formula, it will allow you to stick to your goals.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I want to retire. I want to do, so many times I hear I want to do 4 houses a month. Right? We did this in the coaching call this past week, right? We're talking about goals, right? That was pretty cool.
Yep.
Right? It wasn't just like the goal, but then I started breaking it down. Like, what's the reality of that goal? And I still have a few more steps to do, which you haven't seen yet.
Mm-hmm.
This is when we started breaking it down. Oh, you want to make $5,000 a month? Well, that means you need to have this many. You need to have 10 houses paying you $500 a month.
Yep.
To find 10 houses, this is how many leads you need to have and how many phone calls you need to make. It's real. We make it real. That's what we do in coaching is we make it real.
Yeah, the breakdown was very interesting. You had a couple other points I won't get into because that was our but some other like where are you starting from? Like I want to reach this. Like where are you? Oh God, I'm nowhere.
Right.
Yeah. You have to.
All right. So let me break this down into deal structuring. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let me give you some examples of how we do this with numbers. Okay. Yep. So we'll say the houses were 200 grand.
Mm-hmm.
They owe 172.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Payments are $1,080, but they're 3 months behind.
Mm.
So that puts it at a total of $3,240.
Yep.
So that means to get this deal, you have to catch up the payments. So immediately you have a down payment. We got price. We have the price.
Yep.
Right. We don't have the price. We have to get the price, the payment. So we have the payment at $1,080, right?
Yeah, because we tell them that's what we'll pay.
And we have the down payment. So we have the price and the down payment because the down payment is going to be $3,240. We need to catch the payments up.
Yeah.
So now we need the price and we need the price and the duration because we have payment and we have deposit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So a house needs a little bit of work, but just cosmetic, nothing major.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the same deal we did on the coaching call. I'm just using it because it's available. So the seller lost their job and is going to transfer out of town to get a new job and start over again. By the way, this is very common since COVID. So here we go. exactly what I just said. The price we offer them, will you sell the house for what you owe on it?
Hmm.
They said yes. So I pay 172.
Yeah, that's very close to 200 when you consider closing costs and all that. So it's really very close to what they would get if they sold it on the market. If you don't know what I mean, just go to Zillow, look at a price, and look what it says closing costs will be, like 11, 12%.
Yep.
So they don't get the full amount. So 172 is pretty close.
So the price is 172. The payment's $1,080. Duration is until we pay it off. There is no duration,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the down payment is $3,240, right?
Yeah.
Which is the 3 payments behind. So now let's look at what we can sell it for.
Mm-hmm.
So the price is $220 because we can get about 10% over what it's worth. Now I would be careful of that with inflation and interest doing what it's doing. I would be careful with getting too much more than what it's worth.
Yeah.
But for a very long time, we were always to get 5 or 10% over market value. So we could sell this property at $220, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now watch this. This, as far as I am concerned, is effing. It's just effing unbelievable. It is the coolest thing. I, in my entire career, 30 years, have never, ever had this. And by the way, so is all the other investors. This is a blurb in time that nobody's talking about. I would like to have somebody send me a support ticket and tell me if Pace Morby's talking about this, because I know he's not, because he's not clever enough. Okay, so here's the point. My payment is $1,080.
Mm-hmm.
When I put $220,000 into a mortgage calculator, the current interest for when I did this was 6.7%, which now is 7%.
Yep.
Since I wrote this, because I wrote it over a week ago. Right?
Yeah.
It's 6.7%. So if I put $220,000 in the mortgage calculator, because I don't take the deposit money out, I just put what I sell for. That's how I figure out my payments. I don't go to Rentometer. I don't try to figure out what the leases are in the neighborhood. I don't care because I'm not leasing the house. I'm selling it. I'm just letting them rent for me until I can get their mortgage done. So I don't want their rent payment to be less than what a mortgage would be because they'll never go get the mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know how much the mortgage is going to be for the $220.
Mm-hmm.
And I want it to be higher than what their mortgage would be because I usually add a couple $100 to the top of it.
Yeah.
And I tell them the big fat landlord, meaning me, is taking an extra few $100. You want to reduce your payments, go get a mortgage. You can reduce your payments usually by $300 or $400. And I motivate them to go get a mortgage.
Well, Bill, who would rent something for what they're paying on it to break even? Who would do that? No landlord's breaking even. They're charging $200-$300.
There's a lot of them. The one I bought
well,
yesterday.
When they have tenants
not in our world.
When they have tenants in there for years and they leave it, and the prices go up, that's different. But they don't start off.
But by default, $220,000, 6.7% interest with the taxes and insurance and everything. The payment's $1,961.68, $1,961.68
compared to $1,080.
Yep.
Wow, that's that's nothing we did. That's just what the market did.
That's just knowing what I'm telling you right now and letting the math do its work.
Yeah. So you're
That's
basically buying
That's $881 per month. That, oh yeah, by the way, you have to put that in a special bank account.
Yeah, what's it called?
HIP National Bank, baby.
Well, you're buying on old prices or old money, financing, and selling on current money financing, which is up because of the economy. It just happened. Right. It's like when you own something for years and years and years, you make money. So this just happened, in a short term. Old mortgage rates, new mortgage rates.
And it's a blurb in time because it's going to change.
Yeah.
Okay. See, now let's move on. Now we know what we can sell for because we know we can get 220. Even if we got 200, who cares? Yeah. We know we're still at 1,800 or 1,900 a month. I told you I had 200. I would rent this thing for like $2,000, 2,100.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And I would easily. Oh yeah. By the way, I would do down payment assistance, so I'd probably pull about $1,000 out of this thing. Right? This is how we do it because we use the money now, money monthly, money later, and see, because we know what we can sell for. Because, oh yeah, by the way, the biggest, well, it's not the big, it's what I think is a big mistake. First of all, you're the rookies that are listening right now are trying to qualify the house. They talk about the house, they talk about the house, they talk about the house. Screw the house. You want the willingness of the seller to be able to give you a deal like this. And the reason why I don't worry about the house is because the house is just the bait. Because we're buying and selling the paperwork. We're buying and selling the loans. That's what banks do. They don't care about the houses. They want the paperwork. They want the interest. They want the payments. That's how they make all their money. They want their fees, their late fees, all that stuff. That's where you make your money, right? So the point is that the house to me is not a house, because I'm not buying, fixing, and flipping. If you want to sell on the MLS, yeah, the house is extremely important. It's got to look pretty. It's got to be up on stage. You got to put it on a pedestal, and you got to give them everything under the moon, because the bank is going to take all their money, so they can't afford to do anything for the next 5 years, and they're going to want you to do it for them before they go in. But in this house, it could be an ugly house. It could be a handyman special, because they're not buying the house. They're buying the opportunity to own a house, because they normally couldn't do it because they don't bank qualify.
Yep.
So they're buying the opportunity to purchase a house where they never would have. They found you. You're a needle in a haystack, and they're grateful that they even know you, that they stumbled on you, that they even found you, because we're rare.
And they're not going to complain about some of the windows. The panes of glass are a little cloudy. They're not going to say anything about that stuff. They're happy to have a house. They're going to rent for the rest of their lives.
We're going up on the hour. We still have a little bit more to do. So now we know what we can sell the house for, right? So let's break it down. So now we have money now, money monthly, money later formula to start to adjust the potential deal. So money now is just $2,760. Here's the reason why. We're going to get 5% down on the 220, which is $11,000. We said it needed repairs, so we're going to figure on $5,000 for repairs, just to figure it in the formula. And we have $3,200 for payment. So if you take the $11,000 minus $5,000 in repairs minus the down payment, from the $11,000 we end up with $2,760.
Okay.
Right. The money monthly, like I said, is $881. We just figured that out. 1961 minus 1080, right? And then the money later is $37,000. The reason why is because you're going to take the 220 and you're going to minus the $11,000, so it's really 209. So you take 209 minus the 172. So you're going to take the 220. They gave you $11,000 down, so they only owe 209. You're going to take the 209 minus the 172 that you paid, and it's $37,000.
Yeah, and there's no realtors involved because you got the buyer sitting right there in the house. There's no commission.
So so now we're looking at this thing, right? And we're looking at it. We're saying money now, money monthly, money later. So that would be the typical rookie would look at the deal and they would make a decision. But if you're using what I'm telling you to do today, the money now, the money monthly, the money later, you can do like what we were talking about with you earlier, is you can rotate the deal or alter the deal so you can make it the way you want it to be. Because that's not the only way to structure the deal. And people want to know all the time, how do you know which deal to do? This is how I do it, because I look at the money now, the money monthly, money later, because I know I want money now. I want more than $2,700 a month. I mean, $2,700. I like the deal. I like 881. I like the 37,000. But I want more than $2,700 up front.
And how would you do that?
So what I would do is, I'm going to come off my notes because otherwise I'll get confused. What I would do is, instead of selling the house with the $5,000 worth of repairs, is one way I would do it. I would want to make the decision. I would want to see the house and make sure it's livable, because one of the things I like to see is how popular will this house be?
Yeah.
How many buyers will say, yes, I want this house? Kind of like American Idol, right? They vote for everybody, right, on their phones. So if you're putting this on the MLS, it's like American Idol. Like, here's my house, vote for it. Do you like it or don't you? And the more people that like it, the more chances you have of selling quickly. Which, by the way, if you're a scaredy cat and you're nervous and you haven't done a deal, right? I didn't even notice. 10:24. That was a half an hour ago. Rocky says, that's huge. Merry Christmas, gentlemen. Whatever we said a half an hour ago. So you're worried about doing deals. Just sign somebody up with an option first. Say, I can put you on an option agreement for 30 days. Let me bring it to the market. Let me see what I can get. Imagine that. You put somebody on an option agreement. You go market the property, get used to marketing the property, which, by the way, marketing the property is putting it on Facebook Marketplace and or Zillow, Craigslist, any one of those. And you get people to actually give you feedback on the house. So how hard is it to negotiate with your seller when you already have the buyers telling you what they're willing to do? Right? Who's teaching that right now?
Right. In this case, it's a subject to we're going to get the deed. But instead of just doing that, do the option first and then do the deed in 30 days. So you're not committed until you know it's okay.
Right. So in this case, what we could do is we could sell this thing as a handyman special because it's just dated. It's not, the repairs aren't like, they're not causing somebody not to live in the house.
Yeah. It doesn't disturb the livability.
So all this encompasses now is, you ready? You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to teach this to you right now. You ready?
Yes.
The first one where I'm making $2,760 for a down payment. The ad says house for sale, no bank qualifying. Call this 2400, this 24/7 hotline, and we'll explain it to you. Okay? I make $2,700. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is why you want coaching. This is why you want somebody like me in your corner, because when you learn these little things, and I told you it took me all these years to come back with these simple little things. All I'm going to do to change this deal is go like this. The ad's going to say, house for sale, no bank qualifying, handyman special. Call this 24/7 number. That's it.
Well, with that, you wouldn't get a single mom with kids who doesn't do repairs. You'll get somebody like, oh, I'm handy. Let me do that. And
no, you'll get a mom with kids, but she got a guy on the hook that's going to do the work for her.
Oh, yeah, if she has that. Yeah. If not, well, some people, it wouldn't work for some people. Some people, that's exactly what they're looking for. They want that because they want the deal. They want to put a little bit of equity. They love doing that stuff. They'll do it their way. It's fine. Right. You'll get the right person because that's what you're asking for.
Okay, so we're still doing this. I'm going to give you one more example, and then we're going to bug out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first deal we were making $2,700 a month. We're making $881. I'm sorry, $2,700 now, money now. Mm-hmm. $881 a month, $3,700 in the back end. 37,000. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Don't shortchange yourself.
The second deal is I just changed the ad, made it a handyman special. So now what happens is I turn that deal. Let me see, 11,000.
Well, you add 5,000 to the 27, right? Because you're not doing the repairs this way.
Yeah.
So you get to keep 5,000 from the 11. So 27 plus 5,000.
So 7760.
Yeah, you can keep that money now.
So by one sentence and by using money now, money monthly, money later, I just made $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed? Because all I did was just use this formula.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's take it one step further. Instead of asking 5% down, which is $11,000, what if we ask for 10% down, which is $20,000? But they have $10,000 now.
Yeah.
Right? They have $10,000 now. Well, I'm assuming. I mean, nothing's in stone. I mean, if you could do anything once you have somebody in front of you, right?
Well, you get a bunch of people. You see who has the most deposit money and the most payment money. You just see who's got the best numbers.
Right.
It's like an auction.
Right. Exactly. We do those too.
Yeah.
Now watch this. Watch this. So they have $10,000 now. And they say, okay, so I won't put anybody in a house for less than 5%. If they don't have 5%, no matter what, I won't put them in the house. So they have to have at least.
It's not a rental. It's not first and last.
Right. So I say to them, okay, so all you have is $10,000. Is that the most you can come up with? Yeah. Okay. How about if we do this? How about if we put you on our down payment assistance program? What do you mean?
Yeah. What's that?
Well, you pay us the $1,961 or whatever a month. And then you pay another $416 a month for your down payment on top of the $2,000.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're paying $2,500. They make $10,000 a month, so it's like, yeah, okay, no problem.
You know, when you said that a few minutes ago, it hit me. That is a huge benefit to them because the interest rate is so high now compared to before. So the more they put down, the less they have to borrow, the less the house costs. How much are they going to save in the mortgage in the end by doing that?
Yep.
Way more than $416, way more than the 10 grand. They're probably saving 30 or 40 or something crazy. So that's a great benefit if they can do it.
Yep.
Borrow less money, you know. That doesn't go 30 years at 7 or 8 or 9 or 10% as it's going to get to.
So now look. So now by doing money now, money monthly, money later first, we just took our money now to $7,790. We'll say $7,800.
Mm-hmm.
We just took our cash flow from $881 up to $1,297.
It's crazy. Cash flow, not rent, the cash flow.
Now it will change our money later because we're going to take the 10 grand off. The 37,000 is now going to be 27,000. But you'll agree that the money in your hand is a lot more powerful than the money later that owed to you.
Yeah, not quite sure what's going to happen down the line, so might as well get it now. And still have 27,000 later. Like, sorry.
So just to drop a little nugget in here, because I'm way off script right now, just to drop a little nugget in here, what I would do, and this happens all the time, I do this in all my deals, is I write a lease with an option to purchase for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So their payment's going to be $1,900 and change, or we'll say $2,000 plus the $416 a month. So they're going to pay $2,416 a month. 2 checks, one for the lease, one for the down payment assistance. So I keep them separate.
Mm-hmm.
But I did down payment assistance. So when I do down payment assistance, I'm worried about the money later, right? Because I just told you it went from 27,000, from 37,000 down to 27,000.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I do to fix that. I write the option agreement for 12 months. The second 12 months, because I got a 24-month lease, the second 12 months, the option agreement, the money that they have to pay me, that they owe me, goes up 0.5% per month.
The monthly payment.
Yep.
Yep.
So if they take 220,000 and you do 0.5% per month, that gives you 6% for the year. So if they go the full 24 months, the second year it goes up 0.5% a month. The price of the house goes up.
Oh, I said I sent the payment, but it's the price of the house goes up because
Right.
You're waiting. I got it.
Right. So if they go 2 years, I increase the price of the house by $13,200.
Mm.
So I put my $37,000, my $27,000 back to plus 27,000.
Well, now it's 40,000.
Mm-hmm.
And what if they stay a third year and a fourth year? That'd be pretty stupid.
Yeah, well, I don't increase it. I only do it once.
Okay.
But it's $40,000.
Yeah.
So by looking at my money now, my money monthly, money later, look what happened to this deal. So the original deal was I'm making $2,700 up front, $881 a month, and I'm making $37,000 in the background, right?
Mm-hmm.
But by messing with the money now, money monthly, money later, I turned the deal into $8,000 now, $1,300 a month, and $40,000 in the back.
It's crazy.
Same numbers. It's just my decision of how I'm going to sell.
Yeah, same numbers from the seller. You're just working on the other end.
Right. Because I'm looking at the whole deal, not just one piece.
But speaking for the buyer, that buyer, if they don't do this deal, even at the highest prices we can figure, and he doing some work on the house, he's going to rent the rest of his life and spend more than that. And if he ever gets a house, then on top of that. So it's still a real good benefit for somebody like that. Mm-hmm. It's the only way. It's like they're in a jam and you're getting them out. It's going to cost them a little bit, but look, they're getting out of a jam. They can't buy. They're stuck in a rent.
So, John, there is no tax benefit for the financing down payment assistance because there's no interest. It helps them with getting a mortgage later. There's less money. All right, good. So we're 9 minutes past the hour. make sure, thank you for being with us. Merry Christmas to all the guys that are in the chat telling me Merry Christmas, because it is Christmas week. So make sure you go subscribe to our channel so you know when we're live. Make sure you like us or dislike us. Make sure you leave us a comment wherever you watch us or hear us. Make sure you go to the description and click on the link that I put in there that will help you. I actually have some cool stuff in there today. So go click on that link and get some help from me. And then lastly, next week, which is next week for us, but it may not be next week for you, we're going to do episode number 336. And the name of that episode is What Exactly Do You Need to Know from a Seller to Make Profitable, Legal, Creative Deals?
Good.
So it's going to be a very interesting conversation.
Yeah.
And it's not about scripts.
Seller intake information?
Yeah, it's not about scripts. All right, guys. So thanks again for all your attention. Thanks for your help. Thanks for your feedback. Thanks for everything you do, your loyalty, your support, all that kind of stuff. And if you need anything, just hit me up at support. Okay? Over and out. Have a good day.